Hallelujah. Jesus.
I would like to start by acknowledging the presence of the highly respected chiefs, community chiefs, representatives of key agencies of government, the representative of the attorney of the state, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say that I stand in solidarity with the women of Otuabagi in their struggle for liberty from the scourges of environmental damage. Many years of extraction of oil in the Niger Delta, like everyone knows, has created solastalgia. Solastalgia means distress. The different segments of the Niger Delta population, apparently every segment of the population in the Niger Delta has suffered one form of distress or the other. And so we've long past the time, the era when people will talk emotionally without data, without science. And so what Kebetkache has actually done is to help so that advocacy can be more transformational and research-based. I think that is the direction. And I want to say that in presenting the outcome of the research that has been conducted, we should individually be asking ourselves questions. What next? What are we going to be doing with the result of the study? I think what matters most for us is the socialization of the research output. So we should do our best to disseminate the findings of this study. And for those in government agencies, I'd like to also say that because we have had so many gaps from your end, so many shortcomings from your end, and many have actually accused you of not doing enough to save your own people from the problems that we have faced over the years. But at the moment, this is really an auspicious time for us to reflect on the issues and take some advocacy and policy actions. Thank you very much.
Being an indigenous of the Otuabagi community and being born there, and in 1956, when oil was first discovered in commercial quantities in the Otuabagi community, the famous Ogbia oil field. Effects of oil exploration and extraction on the women of the area cannot be emphasized. Today, oil is discovered in a lot of places when people are even aware of what oil or crude oil is all about. But Otuabagi and in West Africa, it was something that was never there before. So some of the challenges experienced were not even identified. The sources were not even identified. Crude oil exploration comes with a lot of degradation, a lot of environmental pollution, and subsequent loss of biodiversity. And for women, even though we marry them, they are the brain box of the families. They go to the farms, they plant the crops, they harvest them and then bring it home for the husband and the men, the children to eat. So when oil was discovered in Otuabagi and the exploration began, there were a lot of deforestation, a lot of excavation of the forest areas, and then the resultant effects to agricultural activities. The explosion also followed with oil spillages, and then we know how disastrous oil spill is on the environment. So foods no longer grow as expected, the yields become very poor. Our women do not even understand the effects of such oil and its attendant problems. So they still find themselves, even within the oil spill, to help themselves, plants expecting something to come out of it. So they become contaminated, and then the result affects a lot of undiagnosed diseases at the time, because they were not even hospitals. Shell never even provide any alternative to medical health. For almost a year now, we've not seen any progress. Let government hear that the goose that lays the golden eggs actually deserves to benefit from the eggs. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, we have done quite a lot of work. Even recently, I did a work on Otuabagi. For the first time, I went to the airstrip used by Shell in Achu and how it has been abandoned. After I shared that video, a senator representing that area came up with a recommendation to the nation that that place should be preserved as Air Force Base. Well, I also visited the Kebetkache Bay, where crude oil was piped from the premier oil field, the Ogbia oil field, and shipped out of West Africa, not far from the Ogbia oil field. But that place is in River State, the Kebetkache Bay, in our local government area, equally abandoned. Nothing will tell you that this place was such an environment. The first export terminal in Nigeria. Somebody did mention that every 20 years, the people of Ogbia oil field are being deceived by the federal government. In 1981, Shagari laid the first foundation stone for the Ogbia Museum. It is still there. I captured it in my report. In the year 2021, or 2000 or so, Olusegun Obasanjo came again and laid another foundation stone on the same research and museum facility.
I am Mrs. Orubo. I'm from Otuabagi by marriage. I grew up around Otuabagi. I was born few years after oil was discovered at Otuabagi, and the impact of oil activities I know, I have experienced. And I want to thank the organizers of this program, especially Kebetkache, who has always been with us, encouraging us, giving us a voice, teaching us how to fight our battles ourselves, teaching us how to go about things the right way for our voices to be heard. Today again, we are gathered to further on those activities. I am very, very happy. I am impressed, and I don't know how else to present my joy towards this organization who has not left us the way our abusers have left us. Today again, we are here. We are here to hear more. We are here to expatiate. We are here to learn. Because the effect of these activities, some of us up to now really do not understand. But I want to thank the conveners of this program. I want to thank all of us for being here together. Solidarity forever. Our voices will be heard. Thank you.
You know, we started the solidarity message to create the community feeling. Now we want to unveil the masquerade that brought us here. Permit me to invite the small but mighty woman who over the years has spoken, confronted authority, lifted women, all in relation to oil. Chief Dr. Bridget Amen Okon, as you see her, looking gentle, smiling, she battles fiercely.
Thank you very much, Chief Constance. Sincere appreciation to all those who have given goodwill and solidarity messages. Sincere appreciation to all the dignitaries here, our distinguished guests, representatives from, I don't know whether Minister of Environment is here yet. The representative from the Honorable Attorney General of the state, the Zonal Coordinator of NOSDRA, the Zonal Director of NOSDRA, Zonal Director of NESRA, my Rotarian friend, Honorable Barrister Iniru Wills. Even the coordinator of NESRA is a Rotarian. You're welcome, sir. The community leaders, the chiefs from Otuabagi community, my mentors from the academics, Professor Allen, Professor Sophie Peterside, big brother and mentor, Dr. Patterson Ogon, all the comrades here, Comrade Maurice Alagwa, Comrade Celestine Akobari, my sister Barrister Disen Obis, Comrade Fineface, my sister Princess Elizabeth Ebe, Comrade Rosemary Owefari, the women from Otuabagi. I can see Philomena at the back. You're welcome. The media persons represented here, please, if I don't mention your name, don't take offense. Esteemed guests, all protocols duly observed. It is with great pride and humility that I welcome you all to this momentous occasion, the public presentation of research reports on the impact of oil extraction on women's health in Otuabagi community. It has already been established that Otuabagi is the host of Ogbia Oil Well 1. And it is also strategic that we resolve to host this event during this season of the World Environment Day. This year's theme for World Environment Day is land restoration. Our concern, our fears, not just of Kebetkache, but other activists, other civil society organizations that have been part of this concern, is that after divestment, who do we hold accountable? Is it the people divesting? Or is it the people inheriting the assets? Are they inheriting both assets and liabilities? Who corrects the wrong that has been done over the past decades? So Kebetkache and community women have carried out media briefings on the issue of divestment. So we have a responsibility on our hands to say these women might be poor, these women might look powerless. Even Kebetkache does not have all the powers, we just have the platform. But everybody has to support us. Let it be a test case and a case study that I don't know how long it will take, that something tangible will come out of this. Let us encourage these women to continue advocacy after this research works. All of us carry crude in our body, works. So we've got to ensure that it's not just another NGO activity, that something real has to be done to encourage every other person. Through this event, we are amplifying the stories of the women. We are advocating for our rights. We demand necessary changes to protect our future. We demand compensation, restoration of land, health, actions to keep us alive. We are resisting death by this action. We are resisting poverty. We are resisting injustice. The data and insights that will be presented today will serve as a tool for policymakers, for community leaders, and for all those who strive for a more equitable and sustainable future for all. Through this event, we are raising awareness, we are sparking discussions, and we are paving the way for a healthier and more sustainable future in the Niger Delta. Once again, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the researchers, community leaders, all those who have contributed to this groundbreaking project. Your unwavering commitment to this cause has made this moment possible. Special thanks to Grassroots International and Good Ends, whose funding support made the research activity possible. We also appreciate the Ford Foundation, whose funding support made the publication of the report and this public presentation possible. What we are presenting or what we are unveiling today is the infographs copy of the report. The publication of the detailed comprehensive report will be done later. But the infographs copy goes straight to the point, key issues about the research work, so it's not that boring. But as time goes on, not too long, the full comprehensive detailed report will be published and it will be shared to all of us. To our esteemed guests, please participate actively and support our collective efforts towards the mission to create a better and healthier Nigeria. Thank you for being part of this very important process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. She has said it all. We don't want to keep him quiet. So that is why everybody must join.
Otuabagi community, a community in Ogbia local government area where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity in the whole of West Africa. A land blessed with natural resources, a land green, flowing with beautiful ecosystem, but today they are all gone.
Wow! Share the polluters. Oil wells are drilled to bring oil out of the ground, sir?
Yes!
Oil drill can cause fire explosion and other accidents that endanger communities, sir?
Yes!
Like Otuabagi community, when oil spills, it polluted the groundwater and the waterways, sir?
Yes!
Wow. Arms plants, animals, endangered resources for hunting, fishing, and farming, sir? So, who drilled these oil wells and sucked Otuabagi dry? Share! Polluted Otuabagi environment. Wow! The hunters, the fishermen and fisherwomen, the farmers and the traders, say, share! No
Thank you.
What is happening in your community is also happening in other communities. If you go to River State, just like Kebetkache director just said, a community we're working together had a very pathetic issues, and several other communities. But the funniest thing is that, why are we not making progress? Is it because we are not particular about our environment, or we are ignorant? In the past, when the Ogoni were fighting for justice, people felt it didn't concern them. But you see the way it concerns us today. I wish, whether you are from another community, sometime or tomorrow, when issues of similar nature happens in other community, you will also stand with them. We have seen the reason why all of us would have been standing with Ken at the time, at the time he was in this journey. We felt, oh, Ken is making noise. So you are privileged, and everybody here should continue to see how in solidarity we can stand for other communities. The companies, unfortunately, they are divesting. And they are divesting, and our leaders are quiet. There is no one here who comes from a senatorial district, or who did not come from a senatorial district or a constituency. You would have had access in one way or the other to our leaders at the National Assembly. Why are all of them quiet? Unfortunately for us, our son, especially from Bayelsa, is the current minister for petroleum petroleum resources. Oil. How do we engage him? He has a lot of power. In fact, I'm surprised to tell you that he had announced recently that he's just waiting for NUPRC to say that the divestment procedure is okay. He won't waste 1 second to sign. How do we sleep in the night? Don't you think you also have that responsibility to talk to our leaders? I bet you, if the governors of the Niger Delta stand up, just like the way they take the federal government to court whenever allocations are not shared rightly, if they also do same, a whole lot of these things will stop. But our leaders feel it doesn't concern them. But in one way or the other, even though they are living in Abuja and they may not want to come back, but their relatives are here. So if you have an opportunity to engage them going forward, please do so. If you also have the opportunity to be in the media, also make and reference to them that they have a duty to protect this region. Wherever they are, they will hear it. The Bayelsa government just launched a report on oil pollution, and I think that report was launched in London. I read it online. And subsequently, we are not hearing anything about it. I think that the present government should be the one driving this course. I am very passionate, and all of us here are very passionate about these issues in the Niger Delta, just like the Otuabagi. I believe that when this report will unveil, we'll see the enormous damages oil spill or oil contact has caused to our body. My community is not left out. We are suffering it, but a lot of us are also fighting the process to ensure that we get justice. Collectively and in solidarity, I believe that we will win this war and get justice. Please, the new campaign going on now is that this company must not be allowed to divest. If they must divest, they must restore our environment. If they restore and want to go, good, no problem. You cannot want to divest and deceive our parents because of ignorance, just like what the king said. And they came into the Niger Delta in 1958, even earlier, around 1929, and thereafter, when the first company came. And subsequently, let's not blame our parents because they were not educated. But today, among us, there are professors, doctors, and several professionals. And these companies are also divesting, bringing in a new company without us not knowing the terms and conditions of divestment. They are divesting. And there is no single fund kept anywhere for the commissioning or to clean up the environment. They say 30 years clean up, and it's ongoing with such challenges in it. But even at that, the companies need to also have more commitment to make sure that after the cleanup, more things need to restore the people's livelihood. So we should collectively begin to campaign on no divestment without restoration of Niger Delta. And if the environment is not clean, if the environment is not healthy, all of us here will never be healthy. And remember, pollution has no boundary. What if a community A is polluted today? That does not mean the impact will not go to community B. Any chemical injected underground water, because we all share from the same water level, if it is done in community A, community C, when they drink water there, they may also be impacted. So let's, in solidarity, do this campaign for the environment and for justice. Thank you so much.
We are all in this. If it affects one, it affects all. So we need to have concerted effort to drive for cleaning up of the Niger Delta, not just one area, but all of the states. Dr. Prince, you are welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this study was conducted in the Otuabagi community. And when we talk about Otuabagi community, people really do not know. So whenever I have an opportunity to talk about Otuabagi, I want to always emphasize that rather than Oloibri, Otuabagi was the first community where oil was first struck in commercial quantity in 1956. Unfortunately, not many of us knew that. Some years back, all went to the community to do an intervention under the aegis of the Rotary Club. They almost chased us out when the banner carried Oloibri. It was Otuabagi actually. So that's why we went to do the study. And the scope was to carry out an assessment of the impact of hydrocarbon extraction among Otuabagi women. The study population were women residing in Otuabagi community above the age of 18 years. So even though you're a woman, you're 18 years and above, but you're not resident in Otuabagi community, we excluded such people because we wanted people that have been in that environment and have been eating, drinking, respiring the air within Otuabagi community. Other than those that come from outside, there may be some confounders. We didn't want that, so we excluded them. The study design was descriptive, cross-sectional. The sample size was in 80. Next slide, please. We used a multi-stage sampling method to recruit our research participants. Samples were collected via well-structured, closed-ended interview and administered questionnaires. Well-trained research assistants were used to administer the questionnaires. Some of whom were members of the community because we understand there could be language barriers. So those from the community that assisted us in interpreting where the need arose. Well-trained research assistants were also used to collect soil samples, water samples, blood and plant samples. Blood samples were collected by qualified medical laboratory scientists. Next slide. Jacob. Air quality assessment was done by an air quality expert. Samples were sent for analysis to a laboratory with all the necessary certifications and approval. Questionnaires were sent to a statistician for analysis. Results were retrieved and presented in frequencies, percentages, tables, and pie chart. Next. Okay. Now, this is a table showing the frequency and mean concentration of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons in blood samples of Otuabagi women. Now, by mean concentration, we are talking about mean is a measure of central tendency, just like mean, median, mode. Do you understand? So when you do a sum of all the occurrences and divide by the corresponding number, like in this case now we have 42 for acetylnaphthalene, which is one of the compounds found in polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. We have 42. So by the time we divided, we got 0.0244. Now let me state here that there are 16 polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. I'll be calling them PARs. Whenever I say PARs, I'm talking about polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Now there are 16 of them that impact the health of humans negatively. Out of the 16, 15 were found in the blood samples of women of the Otuabagi community. Only naphthalene was not found. Only naphthalene. Otherwise, all the other 15 were present, and in concentrations that far exceed WHO recommended standard value. So so that we understand what the results that are before us, let us understand the WHO reference for PAS in blood. It's 0.00002 micrograms per liter. Now, if you look at the first PA, acetylnaphthalene, right? It has a concentration, a mean concentration of 0.0244. Now, I want somebody to please, because I like my presentation to always be participatory, I want somebody to just divide 0.0244 by 0.000002 and tell me what you find, what your answer is. Is somebody doing it? Divide the mean by 0.00002. 1,220. Are you sure it's no more than that? Do you add 4 zeros before the 2? Yes. 1,220. Value of acetylnaphthalene, the mean concentration of acetylnaphthalene is over 1,000 times beyond WHO value. I want that to sink in, and it's the same thing. If you want to do the division, I don't want to bore us, but that's exactly the values for almost all the other 15 pounds we saw. So you can imagine how minute, when we were doing the validation workshop some months back, there was an opportunity for question and answer. And an engineer from another sister NGO was present, and he said that as an engineer, he was told that anything beyond 0.01 in engineering is tend to be negligible and is of no importance. And I said that's to tell you how toxic the PAS are to human body. That even at this WHO is saying that 0.00002 micrograms per liter, and that any range, any value beyond this is toxic. And we found acetylnaphthalene over 1,000 times the normal limit for PAS set by WHO. Now we go to the next one, acetylnaphthalene. The concentration, the mean concentration was the level of occurrence was just 2. We found it in only 2 blood samples of women of Otuabagi that we carried out the study, and the mean concentration was 0.1580. Can somebody else do that math again? Don't worry, I won't bore you, but I want you to have an idea of what we're talking about. The level of the pollution in the blood of Otuabagi women. And to think that we're having this value even though the wells in Otuabagi have been decommissioned since 1975. So imagine in communities where oil exploration activities are still ongoing till now. Imagine what we're going to see. Is there somebody doing the division? 9,000. 9,000, right? 9,000 beyond WHO reference limit. For fluorine, we found fluorine in 48 blood samples. Fluorine. When we talk about frequency, it will mean level of occurrence. So we found it in 48 of the 80, that is more than 50% of the research participants had fluorine in their blood samples. Now this is a table showing the cumulative PAR concentrations in different water samples. Now I want to talk about cumulative because in some of the water samples we found that it was not just only one hydrocarbon we found inside. So we did a summation of the total number of the concentrations of the individual hydrocarbons to get the cumulative hydrocarbons. So for borehole water 1, there's a cumulative frequency of concentration of 0.00006, and the only PAR we found was acetylnaphthalene at this concentration, and the finding is within normal limits. That's PAR concentration in borehole water 1 in Otuabagi is within normal limits. Then for borehole water 2, for some reason we didn't find any hydrocarbon in the blood. And this borehole 2 is the community borehole. For those of you from Otuabagi, you know your community borehole, right? Once you pass, if you're coming into the community, you get to it by your right before the town hall. that it doesn't have any power at all, no hydrocarbon in that water sample. And then for Kolo Creek water, we took sample of the Kolo River. And you know that the oil well 2, the Olympic oil well 2 in Otuabagi community, that was decommissioned 1975. I don't know if yesterday they've done a proper cleanup or proper decommissioning. But as at the last time I checked, it was still spewing crude oil, especially when it rains. So it spills the crude, and when it rains, the crude follows the water and empties itself into the Kolo Creek. And it is inside this Kolo Creek, they take water and drink. I know I'm going to take sample. And I just went there and they said, this water will they drink. I said, you drink this water. They said, hey, they're not testing. And I said, no, they said, no, this is, I can't for this water. They told me this water will never die. They started drinking the water. So we took sample there and we found that the cumulative part concentration was 1.5622. Now, if you look at the reference limit for water, there is just 1 0 missing. Because the concentration of part in water and in blood is not the same. Do you understand? The one in water is a little bit lower than that in the blood. So the constituents of Kolo Creek water, the part constituents are acetylnaphthalene, fluorine, fluorantine, benz A anthracene, benzo GH berylene, indeno 1, 2, 3 CD pyrene. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrocarbons were found in Kolo Creek water 1, and it is 7,811 times higher than the reference limit by USEPA. USEPA is the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and that's a standard they set for water that hydrocarbon should not exceed 0.0002 micrograms per liter, and we are having a concentration in Kolo Creek water of 1.5622, which is equal to 7,800 times higher than the acceptable limit. Now for Kolo Creek 2, we have a cumulative part frequency concentration of 0.9304, and the hydrocarbon we found was benzo GHI berylene, and it was 4,652 times higher than the reference limit. Now, as in the community, we saw about, it took us to about 3 hand-dug pits. Now, this pit in the community is used as water reservoir, especially during the rainy season. When it rains, water collects inside this pit that they use during dry season. And it is just open like that. We took water sample from one of the pits and we found part concentration, cumulative part concentration of 0.9305. And the part found there was dibenz AH anthracene, and it is 4,652 times higher than normal. For pit water 2, we have a cumulative part concentration of 0.8121. And the hydrocarbon found there is dibenz AH anthracene, and it is 4,060 times higher than normal. Now there is an NDDC water board there. NDDC water board. There was no power detected in it at all, because the water board comes with a treatment facilities installed therein. So as it's pumping the water, it's treating before it's used. But it's never on. It's never on in the community. That, in fact, to even get entrance to that place, we had to destroy the community who assisted to destroy the padlock, and then we bought to replace. And there is that, it has not been used for such a long time, and they said there is no constant power supply to power it. Unfortunately, it's one of the best sources of drinking water for the community, and it's not working. Everything we eat and drink, increases our level of acidity. It further deranges our health and our body organs. Do you understand? And that's what is going on in the Otuabagi community. The water sources, apart from one, all acidic. all water samples have very high salt content. That means there is increased salinity of the water samples, except for the rainwater. Of course, you don't expect to see salt in rain anyway. Now, for the soil samples, we took some soil samples from oil well 2. And the reason is simple. You know, as a medical doctor, one want to take wound samples, for instance, okay? We take the sample at the point where there is pus in the wound. We don't go to the clean side. No. We go to the dirty side of the wound and take the swab and do our microscopic culture, and then we do our sensitivity. So when in the course of taking sample, we found out that area where the oil well 2 was located is about one of the most polluted sites of the community, and it was only reasonable that we take soil samples from there. And we did take, and we found a concentration, part concentration of 8.5536. Now, for soil sample, the concentration, the reference limit is not the same. Okay, the reference limit is 0.2 micrograms per kilogram. 0.2, and for soil sample around oil well 2 was seeing a concentration of 8.5516, and it is 43 times more than the reference range. ATSDR is Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Research. Now, for sample 2, we found a concentration is still around just about 600 meters away from oil well 2 soil sample, and we saw 28.7014, and that is about 143.5 times the reference limit. So we also took a reference soil sample in Otuabagi. Otuabagi is a community just before Otuabagi. Chiefs, am I right? We took their soil sample there, and we also saw that the part concentration was 1.0402, and it is 5.2 times the normal reference range. And you see that even though Otuabagi is also polluted, it is not half as polluted as what we see in Otuabagi community. Then for the soil samples, for the plant samples, WHO par reference range for plants is between 0.01 to 0.05 micrograms per kilogram. Now let us see if any of them falls within the normal value as given by WHO. So we took in the community, we took cocoyam samples and plant samples, and cassava samples. For the cocoyam, the first cocoyam sample we took had a part concentration of 0.06255, and it is 1.3 times higher than the reference range. Cocoyam 02 had a concentration of 0.522, and it is 1.054 times higher than the normal. The cocoyam 3, 0.0485, and it is within normal limit. Remember I said the reference range is between 0.01 to 0.05. So the last cocoyam sample was within normal limit. And then for the cassava, the cassava 01 had a concentration of 0.0046 and is within normal limits. Cassava 02, 0.0872, and it was 1.75 times higher than the normal. And cassava 03 was 0.9437, 1.89 times higher than normal. Now, but there's something we found out in the course of taking the samples, especially plant sample. When we dug the ground to harvest, especially the cassava samples, more than 6-7 of such samples, we found that the cassavas were already rotting while still in the ground. Already rotting. Where is the former woman leader? Can you verify what I just said? And even some of the cocoyam. So, you see, they go to the farm expecting that at the end of the day, when they want to harvest, they will have a high yield, and their produce have been disrupting inside the ground before it comes out. So there is a reduction in yield, which will affect the economy, and the economy will affect every other thing. Now, when I was, next slide please. There's something I want to say. Okay, the air quality. Now, the sampling points, the P&SS is primary and secondary school area. Community TH is community town hall, waterside, community junction, Olubri oil well, control point. And the other column is WHO permissible limit for the various. We didn't detect nitrogen dioxide, methane, ammonium, hydrogen disulfide in the air of Otuabagi. However, we found sulfur dioxide at a concentration that is higher than the WHO permissible limit, and then carbon monoxide, CO is carbon monoxide, and the permissible limit was by the WHO is 0.025, and we're getting, especially at the community junction and water side, we got a concentration of 2.57 and 4.50 parts per million, which is higher than the WHO standard. Then the PM10 was present.
And so I have to congratulate Kebetkache for this initiative. Thank you very much. But the two questions, what next? What next? Because eventually we are an endangered species.
I want to say that let it not be that it is only Otuabagi matter. As we have said, even the MC, the Niger Delta is the same, the story is the same everywhere. So can we also extend this health audit to other parts of the Niger Delta? So thank you very much.
These findings now is basically talking on women. What would be the fate of the men?
Today, the women has also, this organization has also come up with this idea. I think this program will take us to the promised land. I use this medium to thank the government, His Excellency of this Bayelsa State, and the organizer of this program, that we, the Swamp Period and Task Force Administration, Bayelsa State, are ever ready, whenever we are called upon, to embark on this project. Thank you.
I want to say that I want to take it up from when my learned senior, when we asked the question, said what next. I think that's what we should be looking at, because there's really fire on the mountain and we're all in one place. I think we should chart the way forward at this point, and I would suggest that we're all relevant key stakeholders that have been invited for this event. We all need to escalate this conversation positively, not that. And like for us as civil society organizations, we are not going to fight anybody, but we are going to be intentional about this movement, about what we have just heard. I know I've had this conversation with a smaller, when we had a smaller meeting, and I said I was really scared. Looking at what we are saying there, the reports we've seen now, we know that there's fire on the mountain in Otuabagi community, because our children are not safe. The women are just walking. Some people say walking up. Sorry to persons from that community. We need to be intentional and meet the key stakeholders that need to look at this report and work on it. Implementation is key at this point. That is what we should be talking about. We should have this document, and then please, let's have access to the document so that we can start working. We have different platforms where we can talk about it. Some of us are on media almost every other day. We can talk about it until the governor hears about it, until the House Committee Chairman on there hears about it, and all the representatives in government that have been given appointments and all that are coming from that community and not from that community, they need to look at this report and then we start working about it. The time to move forward is now on this community, on this research is now. The time for everyone to say we must do something as we are stepping out of here. Let's take our social media, let's take advantage of all the social media platforms we have and say there is something that we need to do. And I'm sure the governor will hear about it and call the relevant key stakeholders to start working on what we need to do. And then finally, justice. I'm a lawyer. Do Foundation is ready to work with MM. we are ready to work. Before these people leave this country, we want to catch them and tell them that you cannot leave our women like this and go scot-free. Thank you very much.
I think I want to suggest a reform in case of next time, that in any community where an oil exploration is to be, to take this, the first thing first, and that is the environmental impact assessment. Because without the environmental impact assessment, you wouldn't know the outcome. It is to really go the facilities responsible. Because all these things you have stated here will be in the environmental impact assessment. So I would suggest that any facility coming into any community, the community needs to hold that facility responsible, carry out an environmental impact assessment of that place.
King Koko of Nembe, 1895, over 100 years ago, he didn't go to the universities that some of us have gone to, Oxford and Unilag and so on, but he defended his people. What is happening because the people that represent us in the Senate, the people that are our governors, the people that head agencies, intervention agencies, are not doing their work. It is that simple. It's easier for us to call a fictional federal government, and I'm not defending them. But I'm not expecting President Tinubu to do something. He doesn't know anything about what is happening here. The man that has just been removed as Director General of NOSRA, your boss, sir, Idris Musa, every day you wear white and white and sit in Abuja, thousands of miles away from here. He wasn't interested. But the people that have statutory responsibility to take charge of Rivers State, Bayelsa State, Akwa Ibom State, from 1999 to date, we've had governors. If Shell leaves, or if Ajib has left a legacy of pollution after how many years, it is because the senators and the governors who have names have refused or have failed or for whatever reason have not protected their people the way that King Jaja of Okobo over 100 years ago risked his life to defend his people, and the way that King Koko did, people who didn't have education. So what next? And I want to thank you. It's not the first time we know each other and everything, but your conclusion that the Otuabagi people or women should go on a peaceful protest.
Well, we're all exposed. Like let me just give you just one recent finding that was done in Port Harcourt, where it was found out in 2018 that majority of the men in Port Harcourt, residing in Port Harcourt, have varying degrees of structural anomalies of their sperm cells. It means they cannot impregnate their wives. That is what is going on now. Now, Bayelsa, you recall after the Sud conference which you shared, I was invited to Nigeria Info's viewpoint on Saturday of that week, where I talked about the Sud conference and my presentation that day. And some persons called in to the radio show and they wanted to politicize the whole issue. And I was very mad at them. I didn't give them the opportunity to do so. And one of the callers talked about the governor not doing anything about it. And I said, the governor himself is also a victim of the suit. And that the suit in Port Harcourt as it is, does not select class, education, religion, political affiliations. Everybody, for as long as you reside and do business or from River State, you are a victim. And I said that. So it was shocking to me after the governor had, the former governor of River State had completed his tenure. During his Thanksgiving service reception, he talked about how his wife was suffering from cancer, and my heart just broke. So the reason why I'm saying this is because You may think that it's far. You have been in office before as in Niger Delta, maybe as in at the federal, state, or even the local government level, and you feel no, it's not your problem. You don't refuse to do anything. Don't worry. A time will come when you will become a victim too, or somebody close to you will be a victim, because nobody can afford to be reckless and not become a victim of recklessness. Do you understand? So it's just to tell you that this study was focused only on women, but because of the interest of Kebetkache, which is a women rights advocacy group. So if the women are affected, the same men drink from the same river, drink from the same water, eat the same food, breathe the same air. And I'm assuring you that if you take their samples too, we are likely going to see similar results. So the result is a representation of what is actually going on in terms of hydrocarbon exposure and pollution for both male and female. But in this index case, we are focused only on women because of the interest of the organization that sponsored the research. Now, the youth president asked about the effect of felling of trees. And like I said, there's a symbiotic relationship. So, in civilized climes, when a tree is felled, like 5 or 6 is planted to replace it so that there is a continuity. Do you understand? So that's what they call sustainable development in this sense of it. Which is to say that the present generation are using the resources to meet their own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to also meet their own needs. So if you're into a logging business, okay, you fell trees to make money. When you cut the trees and you plant 10 for that every one you cut, it means that in the next 20 years you still have more trees to cut. But you cut the trees and you don't plant, it's just a matter of time. You will exhaust that resource and it will be nowhere again. So it simply means that for the fact that trees are cut and not being planted or replaced, that you get to the point where the impact of climate change in that part of the environment will be far worse than any other part. So please tell your people to, I'm not saying they should cut, that's what they call legal logging. Okay? When you cut, you plant and replace. So that in the next 20, 30 years, other people also, in case there are future loggers within your community, you also see trees to log.
Well-meaning Bayelsans should come up and support us. We need to carry out a peaceful protest to tell the world that these people who want to divest, they want to run up from their liabilities. They want to run away from their liability, knowing that they have polluted the environment to the level whereby they have sentenced us to death. We are moving like a living corpse. And it is a liability. And that is why we are saying before they divest, they should take care of their liability, properly clean and remediate the environment, and also pay compensation. Looking back, you must pay compensation going back to the present state of affairs. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What designation do we put, sir?
Well, you just say Alagwa Moore is an environmental and community rights campaigner. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to that regional matter, but before then, Judge, this is a report on Otuabagi women. You are a woman from Otuabagi. I think you are part of the research. So tell us, what are you as women? There's a charge for you there. What are the ways that you are going to help to push this report so that it becomes meaningful to your community?
Thank you. My name is George Mitema. I'm from Otuabagi community. I want to say a big thank you to Chief Dr. Emekokon to carry out this research work. And I want to also thank Dr. Briggs. Because when he went to my community, when he wanted to carry out this research work, we followed him from where to where, from the forest, we move around the community. It's not easy. When we carry out local research for the women, They talk about their husbands too, just like the way some men are throwing out on their own side. The women say that men, boys, let me say boys of 30, 40 years, that their reproductive system is not manufactured again during moonlight. We say, wow. Then what are we going to do? Why the women are not conceiving again? In my community, sometimes when I was the age of, let me say, 15 years, we hear so person are put to bed, so person are put to bed, but now, for the 1 year, you cannot even count up to 5 in the community. So, it really affects us.
Good afternoon all. My name is Dr. Ememukun, Executive Director, Kebetkache Women Development and Resource Center. The motivation behind the research is that we have been carrying out campaigns over the years. A pollution of a local well in somebody's compound. We did an assessment and then we are helping, providing assistance to get legal assistance to ensure that the corporation respond to the impacted family that are demanding relocation and also compensation. And then the lawyer asks a question: do you have a scientific research report that can support if there is a suit filed? That is one. The second motivation, or maybe the initial motivation, I shared it when I gave welcome address, that during the initial engagement with the women in Otuabagi, one of them said, if you cut my waist, you will not see blood, you will see crude oil. And to really verify what the woman said, there was need for scientific research to be carried out to find out the real effect on the health of the women and on other community members. So we got a professional medical scientist to conduct the research, and you heard from him. He took blood samples from 80 women. 100% of those blood samples contained hydrocarbon. In his presentation, the terms are medical and technical. So the layperson might not understand all the PAH and other terminologies that doctors use. But the bottom line is that crude oil, hydrocarbon, is found in the blood of the women in Otuabagi community. By implication, it is not only the women, other members of the community, and even other communities in the Niger Delta have similar problems. So this is a case study. And one of the people that made comments said that this calls for further research in the Niger Delta. So there will be need to go to another community that is currently experiencing oil exploitation, because the Otuabagi wells were decommissioned as far back as 1975, and the effect is still there because some of those wells, particularly well 2, is still leaking oil. Now, some people are asking what next. There is need to take the reports and these findings to duty bearers to tell them it is time for them to use their offices to address this situation. Because if I am told that there is oil in my blood, I will need to seek medical solution. Not so. And there is not really a functional health facility in that community that can address that level of problem. And the percentage of hydrocarbon found in those blood samples, as revealed in the report, is over 1,000 times more than the World Health Organization guidelines. So there is a problem. So something has to be done. And whatever has to be done might not be within the capacity and capability of the people in Otuabagi. So government has to be involved. The responsible multinational oil companies also has to be involved, which is also a good reason for them not to start packing their loads and leaving as they have planned, because they need to clean up the mess. They need to address the damages that has been done as a result of their actions. So there is need for health, medical solutions to at least those people that their blood samples were taken. They have to be medical solutions to this problem. Because tomorrow, maybe things are even happening. We may not know. So something has to be done. Are they going to build a specialist hospital there? Are they going to take all of them to a specialist hospital for proper treatment? Are they going to give them money to seek treatment? Something has to be done for those women, at least for the research participants and the entire community, because it means the entire community is affected. We have also heard from the contributions of the participants in this meeting. Remediation of the environment, compensation should be paid to community members. Because you visit that community, you can even see those of them that are here. Do they look well? People talk about poverty. How do we address issues of poverty? How do we address issues of lack of basic social services? We also heard on the findings of the water. The water is polluted. The only water source that is not polluted because it has treatment elements within it is not flowing. So people are still drinking the polluted water. Something has to be done. And you media people, you also have the responsibility that this message will have to get to the tables of those who can take action. We have been advised that there is need to present this report to the governor. That is going to be the next stage. We are going to seek audience with the governor and Kebetkache together with the women in Otuabagi will present this report to the governor, and we are looking forward to the governor committing to do something to address this problem. Thank you very much.
Now this question of our representatives not really representing us, it has come up before. Our governors not addressing the issues that really concern us. I want to ask Professor Peter Sai and Dr. Patterson what they think. How can we make our representatives more representative of our needs and challenges?
You know, I'm not involved in politics. But I also know that if under military regime, as civil society activists, and I refuse to get involved in politics so that I have a free rein, I can issue any statement I want to issue. I think that what is lacking is the citizenry are not vigilant. We're not vigilant. Because if we're vigilant, we chase military regime out of this country. These are people who are carrying guns. So we allow ourselves to be divided. Once this person gets an appointment, every person close to that person lies on them. So even when you see things going wrong, what about the civil society? At the time it became a venture, there are people who have tickets, receipts, and all that. So if we were able, I used to tell Ruto, and as you saw, if we were able to engage the military regime and waiting at the prison, these are people who can't jail you unless they bring people to court. So that can't be. So I think that the civil society has a role. We still have a role. Some of us felt that at so and so level, we are no longer involved. But I think consistency in terms of advocacy is what is key. Citizens must know that they have the right to complain. And it is only when you complain that people will know there's a problem.
Well, the most significant finding over the years is that there has been massive, very unimaginable level of exposure to hydrocarbon, to the extent that
you saw the results of the findings where the level of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons in the blood samples of women of Otuabagi is exponential. Some of the constituents of the hydrocarbons were as high as 3,000, 4,000 times higher than the WHO reference limit. That is mind-blowing, and I can tell you. And we also saw that there is a very high level of congenital abnormalities from deliveries that have been recorded in Otuabagi community. We saw issues of stillbirth, miscarriages. We saw high levels of cardiovascular diseases, respiratory illnesses. So it is their social infrastructure, this peace and security, food security, because even from the research findings, they have very low yields as compared to how it was before oil exploration commenced in Otuabagi community. We also saw, of course, that something that was very key, occupational migration. That before oil exploration, that a lot of the people of Otuabagi community were fisher folks. They are fishermen and women. But now they've migrated because there are no fishes again in the Otuabagi River. We saw very high salt content in their water. The water they drink in the Otuabagi community is polluted by hydrocarbon. So people have been basically, literally eating and drinking hydrocarbon. But this is very instructive because to think that oil was first struck in commercial quantity in the Otuabagi community in 1956, and by 1975, the oil wells have been decommissioned by SPDC. Until this day, over 40 years after, we are still seeing this level of pollution. It goes to tell you the devastating levels of pollution in Otuabagi community. And not just in Otuabagi community, we are seeing this because a study has been done. What about other parts of the Niger Delta that where such studies have not been done? Just take, for instance, the UNEP report on Ogoni land, where in one of the wells, water sample wells in Ogali, in Eleme local government area, benzene, which is a volatile organic compound, was found to be present 900 times WHO limit, and we are seeing similar thing in Otuabagi. So I have every cause to believe that if similar studies are done in other parts of the Niger Delta, the results will be as shocking as the one that we have seen in Otuabagi.
Your name?
My name is Dr. B.A. Rena Briggs. I'm a public health physician and an environmental advocate.
Can you be all the names? B.A. so B.A.
B.A. Rena Briggs. It's not an abbreviation. B.A. Rena Briggs. B-I-E-Y-E. Rena, R-E-N-N-E-R. Briggs, B-R-I-G-G-S.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
From the community.
I'm not even from Bayelsa, I'm from River State.
Okay, with what has happened, do you think anything can be done to reverse this trend? Now, this concentration is very high in the people there. What can be done about the people that are already having these health issues already in the community? Well, like if there is a remediation, it can only be to prevent further ones. What of the ones that already have this concentration in their studies?
You see, if you look at the recommendations at the end of the findings of the results, we talked about that we called on the federal government to carry out a health audit of the people of Otuabagi with a view to unraveling the cause and instituting interventions to halt and reverse the impact of hydrocarbon. Now, let's be realistic, for Christ's sake. The United Nations Environmental Program report on Ogoni land said that if the proper steps of remediation are followed through, it will take about 50 years before the environment can be properly remediated to the point where it was before exploration began. Okay, so if you just oppose that with the human health, it's going to take a lot. And to think that we are having government does not truly pay priority attention to health, even further exacerbates the issue. But ideally, a health audit should be done as soon as possible, not just only in the Otuabagi community. This same thing was also recommended by UNEP in Ogoni, in the case of Ogoni. And the federal government has not truly, carried out or implemented this recommendation. But it's the right thing to be done. That is why we are re-emphasizing that the health audit should be done, especially in this index case of Otuabagi, so that the key and affected issues can be tackled by the government to reverse whatever is present. What I'm going to tell you is a very Herculean task. Somebody in the question and answer session talked about hydrocarbons being mutagenic, teratogenic, and immunogenic. It means by teratogenic, it means that it can cause the death of a baby while the baby is still in the womb. It can then by mutagenic, it means that it can alter the course of DNA. Do you understand? And by immunogenic, it means it can change the immune system of human beings. And these things do not just occur over 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 1 year, 5 years. It takes a whole lot of time to happen. So to reverse it would also take time. But that is, the reversal can only start when there is a deliberate effort on the part of government to have institute health interventions with a view to reversing this negative impact of hydrocarbon on the health of just not just Otuabagi people, but the entire Niger Delta and anywhere pollution is found in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen in the house today, I greet everybody and I beg to stand on the well-established protocol. I'm Barrister Tari Begi, a Deputy Director with the Ministry of Justice, and I'm representing the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Honorable Beria Dambo SAN. And today I've learned a lot being here, and I have a lot to tell him when I go back to the office. I'm going to also make my report on today's program, because there is a major role that the Ministry of Justice will have to play in this report that has been put together. Because when it comes to justice, that is our specialty, our area of specialization. And from the report, the recommendations, implementation is key. And I believe strongly that with this report, we'll be able to achieve results for not just the Otuabagi women, but Bayelsa as a whole and the Niger Delta also. So my duty here is straightforward, it's just to unveil the report. So I want to unveil this report in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, that this report will do good to our states and the Niger Delta as a whole.
Another one. Not using power.
You heard very damning reports about the impact of oil pollution on the women in Otuabagi and by extension other parts of Nigeria. What's your reaction?
It's quite scary. We're worried, and there is really trouble in this community. As women, we are worried, we're concerned, and I think there is time for action. We really need to do something. We really need to speak out to relevant stakeholders. We just need to move out and tell our story to the world, because the women there are not safe. The women there, as far as I'm concerned with the report we just got, they are sick. And what about the children? The children are also not safe. So that we really need to do a lot to ensure that we step up in our intervention strategies, to ensure that we meet with His Excellency to see how steps can be taken to protect the women, to look at their health conditions, and then to also look at Shell itself. that has negatively impacted into that community.
Your name for the records and the designation.
Okay, I'm Dr. Disel Gusegodi-Hari. I'm the team lead to Foundation.
We are looking for the government to help us to make sure that it bring us a hospital, something that it will make us healthy, so that it will take care of us. Food, even our food too, we cannot have food anymore again. The first time when you go to our market, you will know that we are producing food. Now there is nothing. Even our children, we are suffering of hungry. So let the government make sure that it will help us to do many things for us, healthy, and even to support us for food.
With what has happened today, the report and the findings, how do you feel? How do you feel about it? What has happened today, the finding and the report that has been presented today in this hall?
I feel very bad because the reason why I feel bad is that we are still going close to this oil. We're using the crude oil as the way we used it before. We have been drinking it, rubbing it. We don't know that it have effect on our body, but throughout the report today, the results shows that the disease that women in Otuabagi are carried is only the grace of God that we are alive.